Virgo and Sagittarius. This pairing happens a lot more than I would expect, really. And I've already seen a couple different relationships of this come both platonically and romantically together. Um, Before I preface the challenges and the general nature of this, I just want to say that if this relationship is going to be vastly different if the Virgo has a lot of Gemini, partner sign for Sag, and if the Sagittarius has a lot of Pisces, the partner sign for Virgo, and that if these energies are present, that this relationship is going to be a lot more possible and a lot deeper and a lot richer than otherwise. Um, this is a square relationship when two signs are of the same quadruplicity, uh, aka of the same grouping as per what their general mode of being is. In this case, mutable. There are four mutable signs: Pisces, Gemini, Sag, Virgo. When you have two signs of the same quadruplicity, they are very similar in certain ways. And in this particular case, these two signs are very mobile. Now, Virgo may be a bit more mobile in their mind than actually for example, especially compared to a Sagittarius, is going to be mobile in mind and in body and spirit and whatnot. But ultimately, Virgos are very flexible people. They're very, what's the word? Very adaptive, especially to other people. And it's interesting because it doesn't seem like they are. They're an Earth sign. They're very set in their ways in some ways. They're very stubborn in certain ways. And yet, when it comes to other people and their needs and learning from other people and being able, let alone willing, to very much conform themselves to other people, and not in a bad way, not in a blanket conformity kind of way in which they just totally shed themselves of their individuality, not like that, but just being able to read other people, to understand their needs, and to accommodate those needs. That's a great gift of Virgo, and that shows very much their mutability. Sag's mutability comes in their curiosity, in their ability, let alone willingness, to explore the world, to understand other people, and very much like Virgo. In fact, that's kind of one of the big bonds between these two energies, I find, is these two energies are curious about other people, want to know, even need to know about other people, and really provide. It's interesting because their methods of going about it are very different. Whereas Virgo is going to be kind of more on the passive end, Earth being not as ostentatious, not as extroverted whatsoever as fire, as Sag would be. They're not going to go really out of their way, for example. And again, these are generalizations. If the Virgo has Sun and Mercury, or excuse me, Mercury and Venus in Libra or Leo, for example, they're going to be a lot more outgoing and a lot more extroverted. But as a whole, Virgo sun signs are very much just like all the earth energies are, and the water energies for that matter, are very passive. They're much more into letting other people do the extroverted work because they're very much introverted in a lot of ways. And so it'll very much usually be a Sag who, out of curiosity, says to the Virgo, "Hey, you have this." Usually something, there's some kind of paired interest, I find. You have this insignia, this backpack, and that there's a logo for that show that I love is on there. Wow, I can talk to you naturally without even thinking, without even all the social barriers that immediately confront Virgo in their own minds. Is that person has they like the same whatever as me, the same fashion, the same whatever. They have the same, even stronger of a bond between these two. They have the same technical interest as me. Wow, that's so cool. I want to talk to that person, but I'm not going to because I'm shy and because I have work to do and I have to think about things and they don't want to talk to me anyways. And that's kind of what goes on through a Virgo's mind through all that. Whereas in a Sag, on the opposite side, will say immediately without even usually thinking, especially if they have Mercury in Sag. They'll just go up and say, oh, hey, you have that thing. That's cool. I love that. Or, oh, you're into this too. Oh, great. It's just the spirit of enthusiasm that oozes from them. And that really makes Virgo's life a lot easier. And I think this is why these two signs come together, at least in part, is because Sag is just so blunt, so direct, so free-spirited about life. Even if they have Mercury in Scorpio or in Capricorn, they may have slight reservations at first about letting their opinions be known and sharing their perspectives, but ultimately they are a Sag, and they're open, and Zeus, for God's sake, that's the energy that we're dealing with here. They're just here to explore and travel and enjoy life. And that really helps Virgo. Both of these signs really help each other to understand what life's about from a whole new perspective. Now, it's not always easy. As I said before, this is a square relationship. These two signs are very similar in a couple ways. They are, again, they're both mutable. They're both flexible in their own way towards other people, towards life in general. But they are different. We have an earth sign and a fire sign. And again, they're the same quadruplicity, so they're square. The same things that they love about each other could also be the source of ire as time goes on, and even really from the beginning. Because yes, that Sagittarian bluntness, that ability to just speak their truth, really resonates with Virgo. It helps them in a lot of ways. It helps Virgo being able to deal with their own methods of communication with others and learn how to criticize without being too harsh. Sag has that magical ability to be blunt and to say stuff that is actually quite hurtful and or just direct to the point of, are you serious? You just said that? But they get away with it because they're coming from a good place. They're not trying to fix the person, whereas Virgo is very much usually trying to do some kind of project, and it's some unhealthy attitudes there. They're just saying how they feel, and that really helps Virgo to get past that. But sometimes fire energy in general, and especially Sag being the mutable one, so out and about with people, and so just saying stuff without realizing quite, or doing stuff without quite realizing the consequences. And as time goes on, the Sag learns, they get wiser, just as all the fire energies do. But still, for the earth energy person, especially Virgo, it's going to be very challenging when a Sag says something that very much strikes the Virgo home. It hits home. For example, if the Sag says something, very often Virgos tend to have higher foreheads. It just seems to be a physical manifestation of their intelligence, quite frankly, of their ability to understand the world and to just have brains. And it's just one of those things. And for example, about that or something else that the Virgo is very insecure about, and really the insecurities run the gamut of typical body insecurities that we've been force-fed through our media. But the Virgo tends to, out of all the signs, to embody that a little bit more in their younger, more confused years. As time goes on, Virgos realize, what, this is my body, I'm going to live with it, I have to live with it, nobody else has to. I appreciate it for what it is. Awesome. I will take care of it in my own way, and I'm not going to worry about what other people think. But when younger, especially, they're quite sensitive about that, and they're quite sensitive about whatever else, maybe their weight or whatever else. And Sag will come along and they'll just come out of them like they were thinking about it all day, and they weren't. And I think that's really important for the Virgo to understand, is the Sag really is coming from a place of, unless there's some kind of weird, other energy at play, an emotional turmoil energy, that the Sag is trying to be vindictive. But even then, it's just so hard to imagine the Sag being vindictive, and I've never really experienced it. As harsh as they can be, and as much as they can hurt people's feelings. And I've been on that receiving end of a Sag's bluntness to the point of meanness. But again, they're really not trying to be mean. They're just saying their perspective very often without even really thinking about it. And indeed, that's part of. I have to continue this video later.